Hey everyone. This is the very first episode of the Creative Sessions, and my name is Michelle Sanchez, and I'm from BareMade Studios. There might be a little bit of a lag here, I think, but anyways, we'll just keep going. And if anyone wants to ask any questions throughout this episode, feel free, and I'm gonna have my phone with me, and I'll look at your comments there. So let's get started. This episode is actually called Brand Essentials for the Baby Boss. So I'm going to walk you through the very first part of what you essentially need for your brand or branding. And so just to get a little bit of a background, BareMade is a design studio, and we work with mostly women entrepreneurs on their branding and brand design and web design. So we're essentially full service, right? Cool. So I'm going to start the screen share and we're going to jump right in. And like I said before, if you're on the replay, um, you'll know what we're talking about. But if you just joined us, it is brand essentials. All right. So let's get started. All right. So brand essentials for the baby boss. And this is, I think, one of the most important, I guess you could say, fundamentals when you are building your brand. And it's not only important because it's the foundation, right? It's the groundwork that you're laying down for the rest of your branding, right? So this is the stuff that you are probably not gonna, you know, have fun selecting colors in. You're not gonna have fun selecting fonts in, but it's really, really fucking important, okay? And one thing that I wanted to point out is that I do have a free workbook that you can download. It's called your brand Launchpad workbook, and you're going to see the link in the comments if you want to download it. And I'm going to cover all of this here in this episode, but I'm also going to cover all of that in that workbook in depth through worksheets as well. So you could really get a feel of of what we're talking about. So if you want to download that workbook, it's totally free. The link is in the comments. Okay, cool. So brand essentials for the baby boss. Basically, what we're going to talk about are two different layers. Okay, very simply put, the inside layer of your brand and then the outside layer of your brand. And they're both very, very important, and one can't work without the other, right? So they need each other essentially. And what we're going to talk about today is really the inner layer, right? And what the inner layer is the what you basically represent and your big why, right? Like the deep shit. And this is, and you're going to see in that chart that I have on the screen, it's your vision, it's your values, it's your purpose. So that is like the fucking, like, inside layer of this big onion, right? And on the outside, you're going to see your positioning, your tone of voice, and your visual identity. So this is really the visual, like, or verbal manifestation, right, of what is on the inside. So you're gonna basically put what you put out to people, like what people see, right? And it's just a representation of what's inside. So today we're going to talk about the inner layer. And I need to start with this, and I'm starting with this because although a lot of people come to me for brand design, they are not quite sure what that inner layer is, right? And before we jump into that inner layer, I just want to ask you to think about one other thing, right? And these are the inner layers. We just went through them: vision, values, and purpose. And before we jump into that, I want to ask you, what's your story? So Donald Miller, in the book Building a Story Brand, puts it really well. And he says that you must answer three questions, right, to be able to tell people what's your story and tell your story properly, right? And those questions are, what do you offer? Right? People need to understand through your story, through your branding, what you offer, right? And this can be a personal story, or it could be a a company's story, right? Like your brand story. What the hell do you offer? And oh, hi Colleen and Deonti, you guys are watching. That's awesome. So what do you offer? That's the very first question you need to answer. The next question is, how will this make someone's life better? So what part of this story is going to save this person's day, right? Where is the value, essentially? And then the very last one is, what do I need to do to buy it? Obviously, you're telling me what I need and how it's going to make my life better. All right, so tell me how to buy it. And this is sort of like that climax of your story, right? And so now that you have this is basically what you need to be able to have a grasp on before you actually jump into your vision, your values, and your purpose. Okay. All right, so we are going to jump into our inner layers with vision. So what is vision? Vision is really the foundation, right? The very, very most foundational layer of your branding. And it's important because it's your declaration of intent. Like it paints a picture, right? And this is extremely important when it comes down to manifesting this visually. So you need to paint the picture through that vision. And it can be aspirational, it can be really ambitious, but what it really, really needs to be is very fucking specific, because this is tied into your ideal client, right? And Colleen says, hi, I so need to be walked through all of this. Yay, I'm so happy. Thank you for being here, Colleen. So yes, so be very fucking specific when you're talking about your vision, okay? For your brand to be successful, it needs to be very clear, and you need to help people, and it needs to help people like forge a clear path to their goals, right? It needs to, and at the same time, you need to keep an eye on the big picture. And really, without a clear vision, other parts of your branding won't be as effective, and they'll be difficult to establish. So this is why I call it like that big foundational layer. And guys, the end of this this episode, we're gonna have a Q&A. So please feel free to put them in the comments, and I'm totally gonna answer them once I'm done with the presentation. All right. So yes, vision, and if one takeaway, you need one takeaway, it's be very specific about what your vision is when it concerns your brand. A few questions you want to ask yourself as well when you're kind of putting this into words is what products and services you offer, maybe what sets you apart, what do you do that no other business does, and maybe how do you position yourself as like if you position yourself as a customer and considering working with you, how would you describe them to a friend, right? So that's really helpful in terms of coming up with the vision for your brand. And some good examples, I could say some good examples, I guess, but some that really resonate with me or go off the top of my head are IKEA. So IKEA's vision is to create a better everyday life for the many people, right? It's very simple, it's straight to the point, and it talks about their customer, right? The ASPCA, I'm a big fan of the ASPCA, and they are that the United States is a humane community in which all animals are treated with respect and kindness, right? Those are their vision statements. And then one other one that I love is Warby Parker, and it's to offer designer eyewear at a revolutionary price. I love that word, revolutionary, while leading the way for socially conscious businesses. So, and that really, like in a nutshell, really tells you what Warby Parker is all about. They're about changing the game in eyewear, and they're about, and a lot of their big aspect of their business is to be socially conscious. So they give away a pair of glasses for every one that's bought, right? So they make it a thing, that in their vision, this is what they stand for. So let's keep going. So let's talk about values. Basically, values is what you stand for. And obviously you can have 3, 4, 5, 6 values, right? They're the guiding force. It's how you conduct, they guide you in how you conduct all things business. So this is really important because values kind of dictate how you take action and how you build relationships, and they basically dictate all the actions you take and all the movement you make in your branding and in your business. So think of them as your guiding compass, and your values might not even have anything to do with your product or service, and that's fine, and that works with, you know, a personal brand too. So but they have a lot to do with your point of view, right, and your belief system. So that's totally okay. You know, everyone has values, either business or personal. And if you ask an entrepreneur, the overlap of your personal and brand values usually is the same, right? I know mine are, and that's totally okay, because that's basically what, you know, um, that brings out the honesty in the person and in your business. Okay, so, you know, especially those who are selling services, only they can provide, you know. So that's essentially what a personal brand is. And I know most of you are entrepreneurs, and most of you um, have an overlap between your personal life and your business, right? Because that's how people identify with you and they resonate with you. So values are extremely important when you want to have someone resonate with you, because that's kind of like that emotion that people get, right? Through this, you know, it's the same thing. All right, so your values can be basic human values. They can be abstract and maybe a little less tangible. They, you know, and some examples of basic human values could be stimulation, self-direction, power, tradition, and then another example could be achievement, benevolence, universalism. These are all basic human values, and a lot of the times brands like to embody these human values, because they resonate with, you know, their audiences. So they don't have to be that crazy. They can be very simple as, you know, abundance or bravery or boldness or credibility or, you know, energy or empathy. You know, they can be very simple ideas as well. um, cool. So one thing that I would love for you guys to do is to narrow down your values to about 4 or 6. I think it's really important. Oh, Colleen says my internet keeps dropping, but I can't wait to watch. Oh, it's okay, cool. Yeah, so I would recommend you to narrow it down to 4 to 6 brand values, if you can. More can start confusing your ideal client. So let's keep it to a minimum. The next thing we're going to talk about are purpose, right? And your purpose is, like it says in the presentation, your big why. And this is something that your audience needs to be attracted to, right? Your audience isn't attracted to what you do, but why you do something, right? And it has to be authentic, because, like, it's very obvious when it isn't. It's extremely obvious. A good video to watch if you're interested to talk to, you know, learn more about purpose and a big why in your business is Simon Sinek's TED Talk on YouTube. So if you search Simon Sinek TED Talk, and you're gonna find, that's probably one of the first videos you're going to find. So it's also the very hardest thing to define, right? And it really is your brand's ultimate reason for existing. Why do you sell what you sell, and why do you do what you sell in the way that you sell it, right? So your purpose is really the core of your business, as described by his book, Simon Sinek's Golden Circle. So it's a really good resource if you want to read more. And he has a really great quote that says, "People don't buy what you do; they buy why you do it." So if you go into my workbook, you're going to find a really good page in there with a few questions to answer to help you create your purpose statement. And a few examples you're going to find in there too of some really cool brand purpose statements are Airbnb, for example. Theirs is to empower creative exploration and open new experiences, right? That's really awesome, because Airbnb, does something totally different. You know, they're in that hotel industry, but they set themselves aside with what they do. Another really good example is Nike, to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. If you have a body, you are an athlete. So Nike not only is for athletes, they're for regular people who aspire, right, to be one. And then another one is Google, to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. Obviously, Google's a search engine, so this is, you know, very clear. And that's the thing with purpose statements, or any kind of statement, really. They have to be simple and straight to the point. If you can't say it in 1 or 2 sentences, then you're probably saying it wrong. And if okay, so thank you. This was a really short episode, but I kind of wanted to put a Q&A aspect to here as well. So if you guys have any questions at all about the presentation and about the inner layers of your branding, let me know. Like I said before, my workbook is available to download for free in the comment section. In the comment section. So go there and download it for free so you can get started on that inner layer stuff. I do talk about the outer layers, which is what my brand agency does, and those are the tone of voice, your tone of voice, um, your visual identity. Let me go back here to myself. There I am. So yeah, so your outer layers are your tone of voice, your positioning, and your visual identity. And those are things that we can talk about on another time. And I think it's really, really the reason we need to start with the foundational stuff with your vision, values, and purpose is to build the foundation for this other stuff, right? So, you know, that's a really great place to start. If you guys have any questions, let's jump in. Colleen says my internet keeps dropping, but I can't wait to watch the replay. Cool. Sounds good. And these episodes are going to be semi-short. They're going to be about 30 minutes. I want to have a presentation, and then I want to have a Q&A to kind of chat with you guys and see if you guys had any questions about any ideas or any tips or any kind of tutorials that I'm throwing at you. So yeah, so if nobody has any questions, one more minute before I log off, then I will go ahead and go. Nope. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me, for the people that are here. And if you're watching the replay, please email me and let me know if you have any questions, or just like pop in the messenger and on Facebook, and I will be there. All right, so bye.